recording. All right, we're recording. So welcome everybody to our special Friday night team call event with Kati Heifner. She's our guest speaker tonight, and I'm so honored and thankful that she agreed to take time out of her Friday night to be here with us and talk to you guys a little bit about kind of the roller coaster of coaching. Because Kati, even though if you've listened to any of her past calls, she always says that she is nervous about public speaking, but she's such a good public speaker. And her calls are always so entertaining and inspiring and educational and like everything wrapped up into one. So I've always really loved them. So I feel like she's a really good, great public speaker because it makes her nervous. So I'm really happy to have her here to talk with you guys. And I'm just going to go ahead and hand it over because I want to honor everybody's time.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. And I love Becca, so it's really cool to meet you guys and see you, live on video. I love Zooms just because I do feel connected. And the reason I, developed a call around this topic, the roller coaster beach body and the roller coaster coaching, what no one will tell you is I do feel so strongly about it. And I think I'm in good company here that there are some introverts in the house, right? So I don't know, we're, as an introvert, introspective, and I like to know what to expect, because if I don't know what to expect, it really makes me have anxiety. So hopefully by the end of the call, you guys will kind of know what to expect. I saw that there are a couple newbie coaches, less than 6 months old, and a lot of the learning, what are they called, growing pains happen in your first year in the business. And they continue to happen because, like I said earlier, you're going to come to milestones that you've never been at. So hopefully by the end of the call, you'll at least have some sense of how to handle it emotionally and just know that you aren't alone. It's completely normal to feel like sometimes you're like on the greatest high ever, and then other points you're at the biggest dip in your business emotionally, and how to kind of overcome that. So I'm obsessed with visuals and slides, so I'm hoping I can screen share. You guys can see. Oh, I think I can. Okay, let me make this big. Can you guys see these fun slides? Okay. So to kind of circle back to the roller coaster theme, a roller coaster is a thing that contains or goes through wild and unpredictable changes, which is, in my opinion, the absolute perfect way to describe Beachbody coaching, because there are going to be situations and things that you don't even know to expect. And then when you get there, like if you see on the roller coaster at the bottom, you're excited, you sign up as a coach for a reason, maybe for the discount, maybe to help some people in your life, or maybe you have this, like I did, this grand vision of what you're going to accomplish. So you have your first sale and it's like everything's amazing. And then maybe you get told no a couple times, or someone tells you it's a scam. And then all of a sudden you're feeling bad about it. When I signed up, I really had no concept of what network marketing was. So when I was approached with things like, wasn't that a pyramid scheme? I didn't even know what to say. And it did make me nervous to share something that I bought off of an infomercial, to even talk about P90X, because I was slightly embarrassed by that, but now I'm pretty proud of it. So, there are things that happen throughout your journey where it's like, oh, I hit Success Club. Oh, wait, somebody returned a challenge pack. And you just kind of go through this emotional roller coaster. So to kind of give you guys a sense of what to expect, what I'm going to talk about on the call, if you are taking notes, I'm going to talk about how to get the most out of this call, how we all have entrepreneur DNA, why most small businesses fail, what to expect, how people are like crabs, which is a really fun story, thinking of things from their perspective, being the lone nut. So I have a video that's hopefully going to work and I can share with you guys, how to fill your buckets that build confidence. And that's extremely important to refuel yourself in the way that's going to keep you going and keep you excited, building your support team, and why this whole crazy ride is worth it. So how to get the most out of this call. I am an avid note taker, and over the years from school and doing personal development seminars, I've just realized the importance of taking notes. The beautiful thing about Zoom calls is they are recorded, so you can go back and listen if there was a certain point that you wanted to, explore further. But having notes and having your thoughts put in your own words, where you can go back and highlight things and circle things. And John Maxwell has a great system. It's called ACT, where it's like, do I need to take action on this? Is it something that I can teach? Is it something that I need to explore more? I forget his exact whatever it is. But my point is, become a master of your own education, become a master of your notes. And, that takes me to my second point, which is implement. Knowledge without action is useless. And on the call, before that I did on this topic, I had just watched that movie about Stephen Hawking's life. It completely blew my mind. Like, it blew me away of all of the hurdles he had to overcome to he was such a brilliant man, but the information was kind of stuck in his body, in his head, and the things that he had to do in order to share his brilliance with the world is incredible. And if he had all that knowledge and he kind of kept it in and kept it to himself and didn't implement it, the world would be such a different place. We would not have, I forget, is it like whatever it is? I'm not a rocket scientist, so don't quote me on anything, but just the fact that, you can know everything about coaching. You can be a Beachbody encyclopedia. You can know everything there is about fitness, but unless you're implementing and helping people and sharing that information, it does you absolutely no good. And my third tip for maximizing this call is to share. So anything that struck you tonight that maybe pulled on your heartstrings, or you had this aha moment, to pass that knowledge onto your team, to share it with your new coaches, especially when they're new, especially when they're just getting started, or maybe they've had their first disappointment in the business. So my goal tonight with getting on and sharing is just to teach you guys and pass on what I've learned so that you can go on to create an incredible business and impact others. Okay. I read this really interesting statistic that 66% of small businesses fail. And that kind of blew me away. Over 50%, over half of businesses fail. 66 is such a huge number. And it's really interesting to me because if you think about just us as humans, like what's in our DNA, it is in our DNA to be entrepreneurs, because back in the caveman days, we had to search for our own food. We had to provide our own shelter, provide our own clothing, and really be like the master of our lives. And now in modern time, so many things have happened with the job force, but we still have that entrepreneur DNA deep inside us. So why is it that 66% of entrepreneurs who are trying to get their foot in the door and build their dream, why do they fail? And some of the things, you might think about are, well, maybe they had credit issues, maybe they had capital issues, maybe they couldn't find the right location, maybe they couldn't pay their rent, maybe they, couldn't get enough inventory, maybe there was competition that completely blew them out of the water. And the fact of the matter is, it has nothing to do with any of those statistics. It has everything to do with internal factors. So it had nothing to do with, all of these external things. It had everything to do with the business owner overcoming some of the mental challenges and overcoming that emotional roller coaster, which I don't know about you guys, but that was just like the most shocking thing I have ever heard, especially considering the fact that it's 2015. We literally live in the greatest time in human history. I mean, just like let that sink in for a minute. If you have an idea in your head and a Wi-Fi connection, you can build a business from anywhere. You could build a business at Starbucks. You could build a business in your basement. It just takes an idea and a willingness to work. So to take us back to the Beachbody roller coaster analogy, I want you to imagine that you're standing at the ticket booth and you have a fork in the road. You decide, are you going to buy the ticket? Are you going to seize this opportunity and really go after your potential and live that lifetime of your dreams? Or are you going to keep doing the same actions that get you the same results? And in my mind, the same actions and the same results was a really sad story, because my pre-Beachbody life was working as a retail manager. I was so stressed out that I was actually like lashing out at the people closest to me, and just not being very nice, not being very friendly, because I was so frustrated at not making a lot of money, being overweight, not really being able to get my head above water. So if you're sitting there thinking, I've got struggles in my life and I'm really frustrated at where I am, yeah, it might be a hurdle to overcome them and start a business. I mean, that's not a small undertaking. However, are you going to look back a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and say, I regret not getting that ticket and getting on the ride? So I want you guys to just, take a minute to think about, I'm into journaling. I know that sounds kind of like dorky, but Oprah is a huge journaler, and I am obsessed with Oprah. So anything she does, I'm going to do and take her full advice. But you could journal about it. What are the things that are holding you back? So if you think about what's stopping me from inviting, is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it, fear of rejection? Is it insecurities that maybe you don't think that you're a great coach, or you can't give people advice, or you don't know what to say? Or do you have people in your life, like friends, family, or coworkers, that are telling you it's a scam, it's stupid, I don't know why you even bother doing that stupid network marketing thing, it's not going to work anyway. And just, take those challenges, whatever you're going through, and reframe them. And I always tell my team, whatever you think, whatever your, obstacle is, it's perceived risk, because in your head, you're building it up like this mountain. If you reframe it as a challenge that you need to overcome, or a roadblock that you just need to find a way around, it's mentally, for me, a lot easier to think about solutions and be solution-minded, instead of thinking, oh my gosh, my husband's never going to be on board with this, or my friends and family think it's so stupid, or I'm never going to be great at it. Then you just keep focusing on the negative. But if you think of it as a challenge, and your mind starts to come up with ways to go around it. So reframe your challenges, and just know that you're on this call for a reason. You wouldn't be sitting here on a Friday night on a Zoom call talking about Beachbody if there wasn't a calling in your heart, if there wasn't, a greater purpose for you building this business. So I want you to think about, if you were, I don't know, I almost had an analogy, but it's gone. I just want you to think about, if you don't build your business, all the people that are going to be missing out on that special gift that you have to give to the world. So if you look at Lindsay Matway, our upline, the Bombshell Dynasty is nearing 50,000 people on the team. And I just imagine, what if she had London and didn't do P90X? Or what if she didn't post that YouTube video? Or what if she didn't call Beachbody and sign up as a coach? How different would our lives be? Because she was the person that inspired me to get started. Seeing her journey and seeing her success made me want to jump on board with it. So I know that sometimes it's hard to believe, like, who would be inspired by me? But you don't know until you get there. And you're going to be a couple years from now looking back saying, oh my gosh, I have a team of like 20,000 people and I can't even believe this. So do not let that opportunity pass you by. Please, please, please buy the ticket, stay on the ride. Okay, so this is like kind of funny. I want to warn you guys about, some of the things that you're going to encounter on your journey as a coach, and actually start to appreciate some of the twists and turns and, obstacles and loop-de-loops that you face. So be straight with me. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I was telling my team this story about when I was a kid. I was the kid that would unwrap Christmas presents. I would like sneak around the house and unwrap them, because it wasn't that I wanted to play with them necessarily. It was just that I wanted to plan my reaction for my parents. So I hated the unknown. That was really what freaked me out. So my goal is to give you what I know from 4.5 years of experience, and at least let you be prepared for it. So you're not going to be shocked when things come up, because the truth of the matter is, while I think that you guys are all unique and special and really important people, we're not special in the fact that we're going to have rejection. We're going to have, struggles. We're going to have things that kind of knock us down. So mentally prepare yourself now, so when those challenges do come up, you'll be better equipped mentally and emotionally to handle them. So the first thing I want you to do is put on your rhino skin. And rhino skin just means having a really thick skin to not let the sting of rejection, negativity, or doubt get in your way and stop you, because those are things you're going to have to come to terms with. They're going to happen. So when they do happen, you're going to be able to look at it and objectively say, okay, it's not about me. If someone's lashing out at me, it's not about me. It's about what's going on with them. And I'm going to continue on with my journey, no matter if I'm hitting these small obstacles or if someone's telling me no. The second thing I want you to do is get equipped for the ride. And that really is about diving into personal development. You'll hear that from every leader in the business, every top coach, everyone who's successful in any business. It's all about personal development. For me, personal development means taking a hard look at the areas that I need to work on and creating a proactive plan around them. So for example, if you're really terrible at time management, then you're going to develop yourself in time management and read books around that. If you're really struggling with confidence, you're going to read You're a Badass. If you're really struggling with how to have conversations and talk to people, there's great books like Personality Plus or how to win friends and influence people. So taking a look at where am I in my business, in my life, in my relationships, and what do I need to improve on? And you can create a personal development strategy around that. And the third thing is build your confidence. There's a really great book called Failing Forward by John Maxwell. And I love that book because failing is learning. Failing is getting to that next level. It's looking at what you did, what went wrong, and how you can improve on it the next time. So already have in your mind, you are going to fail. You're going to fall flat on your face. There are going to be situations. I am so embarrassed by some of the team calls that I've done. I'm so embarrassed by some of the emails or conversations I've sent to prospective customers. But through that experience, I learned to get better and better and better every single time. So this is where you really have to kind of check your ego, shed your ego, and just be prepared for the learning experiences and always implement the improvements. If you're just failing as you go, and you're not reflecting on it and you're not implementing improvements, then you aren't going to get better. So failures equal learning opportunities equal success. And one last note that I don't know if this is like weird to say, but there are people who are coaches who are not as amazing as you, who are going to take this opportunity and run with it. Maybe they're not as smart as you, maybe they're not as nice as you, and they're going to absolutely go to the top with this business. And it's all has to do with a willingness to try and a willingness to put one foot in front of the other day after day after day. So I hate when there's potential left on the table. That's what hurts my heart. So I want you guys to just think of your business the next 4 years like you're going back to like college of Beachbody, and you're going to give it everything that you have and not leave any potential on the floor, because those are missed opportunities, missed people that you're helping, missed people getting into challenge groups, missed people getting into the business opportunity. So I just want to throw that out there. Like, I want you guys to like take this seriously. Okay, so if you are a coach, I think if you're on this call especially, that means that you are, along with me, a freakazoid. And a freak is someone who's just obsessed or unusually enthusiastic about a specific interest. And that's Beachbody. I live, eat, breathe, sleep, dream about Beachbody because I just love it that much. It's changed every aspect of my life. And the cool thing is that means that we're not normal. So what's interesting is only 10% of the population is willing to be a freak, is willing to be an entrepreneur, is willing to go after their goals. The 90%, the herd, is the normal, the common, the standard. And I don't want to be the standard. I don't want to be the 90% of people who are dead or dead broke by the time, what is that statistic, dead or dead broke by the time they're 65 or something like that? I'm not great at remembering statistics, but I don't want to be a part of that statistic. I want to be a part of the 10% that is thriving and not just surviving. Pre-Beachbody life, I was surviving and just making ends meet barely. Post-Beachbody life, now I'm thriving. So a freak is someone who's not afraid to step out of the norm and out of the herd. But here's the thing. When you step out of the herd and you want to do something different, if you want to change the way that you're doing things, they're going to call you crazy. They're going to come down on you. They do not like it when you step out of the herd. They do not like it one bit. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But if you're getting any kind of grief about what you're doing, it's actually a good thing. It means that you're making some waves, that you're making them think. So I just want to say, like, welcome to the crazy party. So I do have a video I want to show you guys. Let me see if I can make this work, because I don't know how to get it. Oh, here we go. Okay. This video is 3 minutes long, but it will go by really quickly, I promise.
If you've learned a lot about leadership and
Can you guys hear it?
movement, then let's watch a movement happen, start to finish, in under 3 minutes and dissect some lessons. First, of course, a leader needs the guts to stand alone and look ridiculous. But what he's doing is so simple, it's almost instructional. This is key.
Hey, Katie, it's not showing the video. It's just listening to the audio.
He publicly shows everyone else.
Is it showing the video now?
Notice how the leader...
No, it's just showing your slides.
Okay, wait. Let me see.
You may have to do the share screen
sure.
again and then share like the whole thing instead of just that.
Okay, gotcha. Do you
All
see
right,
it
there
now?
it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Should I go back any, or did you hear it?
I could hear it.
Okay.
So it's not about the
Can you see
leader
it?
anymore. It's about them, plural. Notice how he's calling to his friends to join in. So it takes guts to be a first follower. You stand out and you brave ridicule yourself. Being a first follower is an underappreciated form of leadership. The first follower transforms a lone nut into a leader. If the leader is the flint, the first follower is the spark that really makes the fire. Now here's the second follower. This is a turning point. It's proof the first has done well. Now it's not a lone nut and it's not two nuts. 3 is a crowd and a crowd is news. A movement must be public. Make sure outsiders see more than just the leader. Everyone needs to see the followers because new followers emulate followers, not the leader. Now here come 2 more people, then 3 more immediately. Now we've got momentum. This is the tipping point, and now we have a movement. As more people jump in, it's no longer risky. If they were on the fence before, there's no reason not to join in now. They won't stand out, they won't be ridiculed, and they will be part of the in crowd if they hurry. And over the next minute, you'll see the rest who prefer to stay part of the crowd, because eventually they'd be ridiculed for not joining. And ladies and gentlemen, that is how a movement is made. So let's recap what we've learned. If you are a version of the shirtless dancing guy, all alone, remember the importance of nurturing your first few followers as equals, making everything clearly about the movement, not you. Be public, be easy to follow. But the biggest lesson here, did you catch it? Leadership is over-glorified. Yes, it started with the shirtless guy, and he'll get all the credit, but you saw what really happened. It was the first follower that transformed a lone nut into a leader. There's no movement without the first follower. See, we're told that we all need to be leaders, but that would be really ineffective. The best way to make a movement, if you really care, is to courageously follow and show others how to follow. When you find a lone nut doing something great, have the guts to be the first person to stand up and join in.
Yay, okay. I love that video. I watch it all the time because I just think it's so cool, and that basically Carl is our lone nut and we're the followers that have gone on to follow him. But in your own little spectrum, when you start as a coach, you start as the lone nut, and then hopefully as you start to get challengers and start to build your team, then you become the crowd. So it's just interesting because once you get momentum, now I'm very proud to be a coach, but when I started and I was that lone nut, you feel very vulnerable. You kind of feel like you're twisting in the wind, and you have to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. I mean, you guys didn't really see on the video how long he was dancing before that first person joined him. He was out there for like a good, few minutes by himself before the first person was courageous enough to join. So when you get those first challengers or those first coaches, really cherish those relationships and that trust they had in you to join you on your journey. So I want to talk a little bit about crabs. So there's this really interesting type of crab that is very agile and it's very intelligent. So it can climb out of any trap that's created for it. However, these crabs are caught by the thousands all the time. And it's really interesting like how that happens. So basically there's a trap and it's like a wire cage that has a hole in the top, and the fisherman puts bait in the bottom, and a crab comes along and it sees the bait, and so it climbs in and it's eating. So then a second crab comes along, sees it, and it jumps in and it starts eating, and then a third and a fourth. So they're feasting on all this bait, and then after a while the bait's gone, but crabs continue to come into the trap because they see other crabs. Now here's like kind of the freaky part. Long after the bait's gone, there's no more bait, there's nothing to even, entice them to come into the trap. Crabs continue to come in because of the power of the herd. They keep seeing crabs in there, something awesome must be going on in there, so they keep climbing in. If one crab is smart enough to figure out there's nothing in here, there's nothing holding us in here, and it starts to try to climb out, the other crabs get kind of ticked off. So they'll pull him down from the sides of the cage. If he still continues to try to climb out, then they actually rip his claws off, which is really terrible. I don't recommend doing that to anyone. And then if he still persists after that, they'll actually kill him. So it's just crazy because all of a sudden, you know, they're living outside this trap, and then because of the bait and they're on this trap, that's like the new norm. So if anyone tries to deviate from that, they do not like it, and they try to stop that crab from getting out. The way that this relates to humans and how humans can be a little bit crabby is we have our own herd-like behaviors, you know, go to school, get good grades. And while I think those things are amazing, there's kind of a pattern that you're supposed to follow. Get a good job, you know, do this, do that. And if someone tries to step out of that, like becoming, you know, an entrepreneur or getting into network marketing, all of a sudden they're not trying to rip your arms off, but they're using emotional tactics to try to get you to come back into the fold and to stop going on this crazy thing that you're doing. So, you know, when you decide to become a coach, you're that crab trying to leave the trap. And instead of encouraging you, instead of lifting you up and supporting you, they sometimes aren't very nice about it. So like my friends and family used a lot of tactics to try to get me to stay in the trap. And that was anything from teasing me to belittling the business to just making underhanded comments about it. At Easter, it kind of, I won't even tell you the embarrassing story, but just every family function, it was just kind of like, oh, that Beachbody thing, or oh, that scam thing, or just talking about posting like bikini pictures and stuff like that. And it is hard because the people that you think are supposed to support you and supposed to lift you up are the people that are kind of raining in your parade. And it kind of stinks at first. But when you think of things from their perspective, you know, why do they do it if they care about me so much? The first thing is you kind of make them look bad. You know, you're kind of forging your own path and you're kind of doing something different and living and pursuing your dreams. And they start to think, oh, I haven't pursued what I wanted to pursue. I haven't followed my dreams. I haven't followed my heart. And now all of a sudden that you are, it's like this big shiny mirror reflecting back on them, you know, all the things that they're afraid to do. The second thing is they're not as courageous as you. You know, doing something different is risky. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. You've never done network marketing before. You've never owned your own business before. You've never been a leader in a business before. So they can see it as being foolish or being silly, but really it's just that they don't have the same courage that you do to step out on that limb and do it. The third thing is they're trying to protect you. And I love this because anytime I hear someone say, oh, my husband's really skeptical about this, or, you know, my, you know, partner or my parents are really skeptical about this, I actually really appreciate that because it is a sign that they are trying to look out for your best interest and protect you. There are so many scams out there. There are so many things out there that, you know, aren't great, or people trying to take advantage of you. So I am, that like makes me like a little bit happy on the one side, where, yeah, do your research, look it up on the Better Business Bureau, look up reviews, do your due diligence. Don't just like blindly fall into something. Absolutely. So just understanding that they are trying to protect you. Number 4, they've seen every stupid thing you've ever done. I have literally done so many things, like so many dumb things. I went to get my real estate license and didn't pursue that. I went to do this and didn't pursue that. You know, they've seen all the things that you try to do. I remember Lindsay telling me that she started a like dog clothing company, which I thought was really funny, and gave up on that. So when you do start Beachbody, at what point, you know, are you going to prove it to them that you're in it for the long haul, and that it isn't just some flash in the pan thing that you're doing? So in my experience, and what I have found to be true for a lot of coaches, is after 6 months of consistency, 6 months of sticking with it, even though you feel like nobody has your back maybe except for your team, that's when they start to, you know, perk up and say, oh, she's still doing that? Okay. Like, she must really like that. So 6 months, if you do it for a year, by then, after a year, everybody knows what you're doing. Everybody is like kind of on board because they've seen the change in you. They've seen the change that you've instigated in other people. And they're like, wait, I should have done it a year ago when she invited me. So that's the thing. Now, these reasons are great. You know, they love you, they care for you, they do want the best for you. And I always think of Beachbody as climbing a mountain. They see you climbing this mountain and you're going for the peak, which is your goal. But what they see is you getting further and further away from the comfort of a steady paycheck. You know, what I think of the ground is like a steady paycheck, benefits at work, you know, all these things that it's like, why are you rocking the boat? Why are you climbing up so that you're going to come falling down the mountain and completely break your neck? You're not thinking of it that way, but because we're conditioned to think of things in a certain way, those are the things that scare them. So they are trying to protect you. They love you, but they're just like, I don't want you to fall. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want this to like come crashing down around you. But the thing is, for us, being the people that are, you know, trying to climb the mountain, it can feel very personal. It can feel very, you know, you don't feel very good about it. It's like, why aren't they supporting me? But if you consider a waiter coming to your table asking if you want dessert or coffee, you don't take that personally, or they don't take that personally if you say no. It's just part of business. But all of a sudden, when your friends and family tell you no, you take it personally and internalize that as them rejecting you. That is not the case at all. They just aren't sure about Beachbody. You don't have a proven track record with it, but I promise you, it gets better. I know that it can hurt. I know that it can feel like, you know, you want to derail yourself. You want to kind of give up or take a break from some things, but you just have to power through it. I promise you, like, I need a name for it, the 6-month turnaround or something like that, where the people that ridiculed you actually start to ask you for help. I've had people that made fun of Shakeology so much, and then I was a coach for like 6 or 8 months, and they wanted to be in my challenge groups. They wanted to like get on board with it. Some of them actually became coaches, and I was shocked. But I promise you, they're out there, they're following you, and they'll do it. So while you're kind of going through that phase of people not supporting you or people teasing you about it, it's so vital that you fill your confidence bucket. So I'm going to talk about some of the things that can fill those confidence buckets to get you on the right path and the right mindset so that you can succeed while you're trying to prove it. So going back to personal development, I literally cannot say personal development enough. Personal development, personal development, personal development. That means reading, that means videos, that means team calls, that means national wake up call. I'm not saying that you have to spend 1,000,000 hours doing it. I had to fit personal development in, basically fit it in the cracks of my schedule when I was worked a full-time job and trying to build my business. I listen to audio when I listened to it today when I was driving to Target. There's a really good audiobook called The Aladdin Factor by Jack Canfield, which is excellent. It is changing my life. I have so many recommendations for you guys, but I'll let Becca, talk to you guys about personal development later. I won't take up the whole call. The next thing is visualizing your why. It's so much stronger when you can, take some time, close your eyes, and visualize why you're building this business. And I don't mean your pageant answer of, I just want to help people. While that is great to say, I highly doubt that that's really what's driving you and really what's motivating you on, the basic level. Is it, I want to provide for my family. I want a bigger house. I want to quit this job that I hate. It's not just about, I want to make $500 a week so I can pay for my car. What does that mean to you? Does that mean less stress? Does that mean not having to stress out about bills and pay things late? What does that mean to you? And why are you building it? When you can, come to terms with that and really visualize it and pinpoint it, that's when you're going to see success, because you're going to be so on fire to build your business. I already said kind of team calls, plugging in, national wake-up calls, getting to the events. I hope you guys are considering going to Summit. If you're not going this year, definitely put it on your radar for next year. Get to Super Saturday. Getting to the events and being around like-minded people is so important and impactful. You just feel it's kind of like recharging your batteries when you go to Super Saturday. So there's one coming up July something. It's right the weekend after Summit. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate this business. It really is just about the 3 vital behaviors: leading by example, inviting, and I'm going to say it again, personal development, and then having a success partner or a success support team around you. So having a success partner for me, it was just someone that I could stay accountable to, that I could talk about my goals every day, and show that I was making steps toward them, even if they were tiny, tiny baby steps. It's someone that I could commiserate with when I had a really frustrating moment and they really understood what I was going through. It's someone that I could celebrate with, because they understood every trial and tribulation that I had to go through to get to that celebration. So having a success partner is so awesome. You also want to prepare for your dips. And I wrote on here, be aware of analysis paralysis, because I think sometimes we can get in our heads so much about the fear of something going wrong or this fear of something happening that we end up taking no action, which is worse than taking action and sucking at something. So do not be analysis paralysis city. You just keep moving forward, even if sometimes you're moving a couple steps back. Those are where you're looking for the lesson. So maybe you have a fitness backslide where you aren't staying accountable to your goals and you gain a little bit of weight. I think as a coach, we have all done that. Maybe you have self-doubt. Maybe you've had returns and cancellations. You maybe had a return from someone that you never imagined would return and not consult you first. I've had those. I've had a diamond coach straight up quit her business. I've had one of my 2-stars go all the way down to emerald. Things that you just don't imagine happening, that when they happen, you can kind of like freak out and freeze up. Things are going to happen in the business. Not everyone's going to be as gung-ho about it as you. You're going to face rejection. You're going to face distractions, especially when you make that leap from being full-time at your job to being a full-time coach. Distractions are something you really have to think about and consider and use your time wisely. So just know that life happens is basically the point I'm trying to make. You're going to be filling your confidence buckets, but as you are, maybe there's going to be some holes in the buckets that you're going to have to keep filling, confidence into them, because things are going to happen basically. So just prepare yourself mentally, know that it's a reality and you're not special in the fact that it happens to all of us. So pour into yourself so that you can pour into others. And we've talked about this earlier a little bit, reframing everything to make, just in your mind, failure equals learning experience, and fear, the same feeling that you get from fear, the butterflies, is the same feeling you get when you're excited. So every time I'm scared, I just think, oh, well, I'm excited. And it actually makes me excited about it. So give yourself grace and permission to get messy. Give yourself permission to fail forward. Give yourself permission to, muck things up here and there. And this is really really I'm not a mathematician or anything, but I wanted to point out some simple math to you guys to show how greater failure can equal greater success. So in one example, let's consider you invite 2 people per day for an entire month, considering it has, let's just say it was the month that has 30 days in the month. So that's 60 invites. If you have a 10% success rate, which is what I had when I started, you'll have 6 people say yes, but you'll have 54 people reject you. Straight to your face, no thank you, I'm not doing that. 54 people is a lot of times to hear no. That kind of can start to wear on you. In our other example, if you're inviting 5 times per day for a month, you end up with 150 invites. If you have a 5% success rate, you'll have 7 yeses and 143 no's. 143 is 3 times the amount of no's that you'll hear before, but you have greater success. Now you're at Success Club 14 versus being only at Success Club 12 in our other example. But if you have a 10% success rate, because every time you invite, you're getting better, you're getting better, you're getting better. Every time you message someone, your conversations are getting better, you're explaining things better, your success rate is going to go up. So let's just say, let's keep it conservative and say that you have a 10% success rate. Then you have 15 people saying yes to you. So if you're going to play it small and just do the bare minimum, you're going to invite 60 people and maybe you're going to get 6 people. But if you want to build a strong business and swing for the fences, you're going to invite 150 people a month. I know that sounds like a lot. I know it's where am I going to find these people? But I promise you, once you start to get something in your head, your subconscious goes to work and making it happen. You start to remember all these people that you forgot. Your mailman, your hair salon person, your chiropractor. Your mind goes to work. I'm not even kidding you guys. I pulled out my elementary, kindergarten, preschool, high school, all those yearbooks, and I started going on Facebook and friending people and seeing what they were up to. And a lot of them ended up joining my challenge. They knew me when I was, small. And I kind of have an advantage that we moved around a lot. So I knew a lot of people from, my early development years. So you can do something like that or get creative or host a local fit club, but you'll find the people to invite. It's just a matter of, getting over that hump of, okay, I'm going to hear no. People are going to say, that's not for me. That's too expensive, whatever. Every time you invite though, you're getting better. You're getting better. You're getting better. Make sense? Okay. The last thing I want to talk about is building your support team. And I feel like I wish that we talked about this a little bit more, because it's so important to surround yourself with people that are going to build you up. Maybe they're not on board 100% right away. And I gave you guys a little script on here. I know you might not understand what I'm doing or trust this quite yet, but if you give me 6 months of your full support, I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to learn, and I need to know that you have my back. And if you say that to them and say, address their concern and say, I know that you don't understand this, or I know that you think I'm putting a lot of time into this for not a lot of return. For me, I made barely any money. It took me 6 weeks to make my first sale. So I completely get, pouring a lot of time and energy into something where you're not getting a lot back. But this business is so interesting because you do a lot of work for very little pay in the beginning, and then all of a sudden it shoots up. And now I make more than CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, which is crazy because I hang out with my dogs all day and it's really fun and I get to talk to you guys. So building your support team is really important, just to know that you've got people around you that have your back. So the first thing is including your family or including your spouse. It doesn't mean they understand it. It doesn't mean that they're quite there yet, but at least knowing that they've got you. Having a success partner, we talked about that earlier. Having supportive friends, they might be in Beachbody, they may be on your team, they might not be. I have my best friend from my pre-Beachbody life. She's still not a coach. I don't understand it, but I know that she at least has my back and supports me, and she supported me when I was just getting started and let me practice on her. I would literally do role-playing conversations with her where I would talk and just kind of get it out of my head and work to improve, how I was describing Beachbody to people. Number 4, having a mentor. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Becka. It doesn't necessarily have to be your sponsor coach. You could have a mentor from afar even. I love watching Marie Forleo. And then number 5, plugging into your team. I put this quote at the bottom. I was reading a book by Sheryl Lindbergh called Lean In, and the whole concept of a mentor, I thought this was so interesting what she said about it. She said, I never used the word mentor, but I invested a lot of time in her development. So I was surprised one day when she stated flatly that she never had a mentor or anyone really looking out for her. I asked her what a mentor meant to her. She explained that it would be someone who spoke for at least an hour every week. I smiled thinking, that's not a mentor, that's a therapist. I love this quote because you guys will learn as you become leaders that some of your coaches do want you to become their therapist. And there's not anything wrong with them wanting to share or you wanting to share or you kind of wanting to work through things, but that's what your success partner is for. Your mentor is someone that you go to for advice on certain situations, that you really are respectful of their time and you go with a specific agenda. So if you get on a call with Becka, for example, you're thinking about, okay, here are the things that went great in my business. Here are the things that I need to work on. What are some questions that I can ask her to really move my business forward in the time that we have together? So really trusting that mentor relationship and, being your own champion, being the master of your own education, not just relying on your team or relying on Beachbody to do all your training. You really have to be intentional about where you're putting your time. And I'm not going to say the PD word again, but it really just goes back to PD. Okay, so why is it all worth it? When I think about Beachbody and building this team and all the time that I put into it, so many things come to mind. Freedom was always my number one, motivator. Freedom of choice, having the financial opportunity, having flexibility, working when I want to, having fun when I'm working, having, a heartfelt purpose behind what I'm doing, making an impact on the world around me, making incredible friendships, and just the personal growth that I've done that has impacted my relationships. And I want that for you guys. That's why we do team calls. That's why Becka invests so much into you, because basically the world is your oyster. I know that's like cliche to say, but it really is. And Beachbody is the vehicle that can get you from the point in your life where you are to the point that you want to be, whether that's a physical transformation, whether that's financial transformation, whether that's, relationship building, or all of the above. Whatever it is that you want to achieve, you can use Beachbody as the vehicle to make it happen. And to kind of end it all, I just want to say, really, like I said before, knowledge without action is useless. It's not what you know, it's what you do with what you know. So I hope that you guys got some great, ideas from this call. I hope that it helped you. I can take some questions, but just know that I really just want you guys to keep plugging away, because it's not easy to build a business from ground zero. We all start with 0 customers, 0 success club points, 0 coaches, and we have to build something from the ground up. And you have the potential to do that. It's just going to take time. It's going to take belief. It's going to take vision, consistency. But if you put together your support team, if you keep plugging in, if you keep doing your PD, you keep leading by example, it's going to happen. I promise you. I feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it.
That was so good. Thank you so much, Katie. I was reading the chat and people were like, oh my gosh, she's speaking right to me. So I think that it was definitely something that is super valuable. So I took notes, and I wanted to say some of the things that stuck out to me a lot. So I love the story about the crabs. Like, it's sad, but it's kind of funny at the same time, because you can so easily see parallels, in life. And then kind of leading into why your family and friends are hard on you, like being the crabs in the cage, like, come back to us, come back down. But I really loved breaking that down, because I know that that's a struggle. For most, I think for probably every new coach has someone that they care about that doesn't get it, even if they have a supportive spouse or supportive family, like someone in their core group that like can really affect them emotionally doesn't quite get it. So I loved breaking it down, that, it could be a reason that you're kind of becoming a reflection for them of what they didn't do in their life or were too afraid to do, that you kind of make them feel like they aren't as brave or, bold enough to do something like this. And I love the one that they know your whole past. So like, I think this is probably true of a lot of coaches, because we have an entrepreneurial spirit, right? And so we've probably jumped into a lot of things that we didn't quite finish. Like my husband jokes with me that anything I tell him that I want to do, like when I come to him and I'm really excited about something, he gives it like 3 weeks without really like saying anything about it. Like he won't like be like, no. He'll be like, yeah, that's a cool idea, babe. And it was like, if you're still excited about it 3 weeks from now, I know that you're serious. And he was like, and I've learned that if I just don't make a big deal of it, it'll fizzle out if you're not serious. So your family knows all of those things. They know about, when you sold everything to do this one silly thing, and they know about when you dropped out of, med school or whatever. So they have a hard time. And they also as much as they know you're a grown up, everybody that's older than you in your family still in their head views you as a kid. Like it's just the truth. Like, so it's hard for them to think about you, being a business owner sometime and doing a big thing. And then also that they love you and they just care about you. Like their harsh reaction a lot of the time is coming out of fear. And, when people are afraid, they do stupid things or hurtful things without realizing it. But trying to remember, like when you are going through that love is at the center of it, not hate or spite or anything like that. That can kind of maybe help you reframe it in your head and not feel so hurt. So I loved that. I loved the analogy with the pendulum. There was something like that at Summit last year, the pendulum swinging where
yeah, I think so. I don't remember what it was though.
I don't remember exactly, but he did kind of a similar analogy where he was like
John Maxwell.
Mm-hmm. And he was saying like, if you're not having enough success, then you need to start having more.
It was Darren Hardy. I'm sorry, it was Darren Hardy. I'm like, having to like remember.
And he was basically like, if you're not happy with how much success you're having, then you need to increase your rate of failure, because they're linked on a pendulum. And so you just have to pull it further to the failure side, because then it'll swing further to the success side. And I was like, oh, it's brilliant. Like, you do. It's just numbers, right? Like you just have to up your failure numbers to up your success numbers. So that was great. And then I loved, and this is something that I don't think we talk about enough, and that maybe we should all just start talking about it more, because we talk about success partners a lot, but we don't really talk about having like a success team around you that's not just Beachbody, like finding the people in your life that are going to support you. And I loved the script that you wrote. I wrote it down so I could read it again. I know you don't get it, but give me 6 months of your support while I give it my all. And that's such a great way to validate your family or your loved ones' feelings, because you don't want to bulldoze over how they feel, because that's going to make them feel just as bad as they're making you feel, you know? Like you want to be like, I get that this is coming out of love, but I just need you to trust me for a little while. And you know what? If I totally mess it up and totally don't follow through, then you can say I told you so in 6 months and we'll move on, you know? But like, give me that time to show you that I'm really serious about this. And, you know, just don't say anything to me during that time that's nasty, and we'll make it through. And that's great, because I think it kind of is a great middle ground. And then, you know, looking for other family members that have your back, looking, you know, trying to get your spouse or significant other, or you don't have that, your close core group of friends. Like you were saying, even if they don't, all of my best friends in like real life that I encounter face to face all of the time, none of them are in my coaching organization. Like they're all fully supportive, but they're not coaches, which like you, I'm like, why? I could help you like make this a thing. Like of all the people, you see me the most, you're probably going to get the best deal out of this, but they're still not, but they're still really supportive. So, and then like your success partner and your mentor, or your success partners if you have a little group. So those are the things that I wrote down. I don't know if anybody else took notes. And Katie, if you don't mind, maybe sticking around for like 5 or 10 minutes to answer questions. I wanted to start, I'm going to stop the recording so people feel free to ask questions.